we'll do the live thing first. Like, hey everybody, welcome back to the Bigmark podcast. It's me, your host, Bigmark. If it's your first time watching, welcome. If not, welcome back. Like I always say, if you ever wanted to reach the podcast for any reason, come on the episode if you'd like, or just let us know how you feel about an episode or topic or something you want to hear or anything like that. Come on, let us know. Hit us up in the comments as well. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to our channel if you haven't. If you have, thank you. You're supporting the podcast more than I could ever ask for. Thank you so much. Thanks for being here. If you ever wanted to go a little bit further, check out our Patreon, patreon.com/thebigmarkpod, and there's a couple different tiers there. But again, thank you all for being here tonight. It's super exciting. Always to do this. I don't know. Maybe I'm just more excited about this episode because I actually did one of these workouts yesterday, and maybe it's make me feel a little bit better. But I wanted to talk today about steady state cardio. I'm sure you saw that in the title of the episode and the description. But in this case, let's get one thing straight. We're not talking necessarily about steady state cardio, because essentially any steady state cardio is any activity sustained for 10 to 90 minutes, right? Like you could be doing it high intensity, low intensity, whatever. It's a steady state. So that state can fluctuate. Let's just put it that way. Anyway, what I want to talk today about is actually low intensity steady state cardio, or LISS. Low intensity being 60 to 70% of your max heart rate. So, and if anyone does know how to calculate their max heart rate, it's 220 minus your age, which is kind of one of those funny little medical, it's not even a rule of thumb. It's literally like how you calculate your max heart rate. When I was a personal trainer, that's how we calculated your max heart rate. Like it's not a magic trick, but that's just the number. And as your heart ages, obviously its maximum capacity starts to diminish as well, right? So it is a rule of thumb, essentially. Like, I'm sure there's other tests that you can actually test, but again, truly maxing out your heart can lead to obviously some issues. So be careful with all this. But again, 220 minus your age is going to give you your max heart rate. So if you are looking to do more low intensity cardio, you're aiming for 60 to 70% of your max heart rate. So mine is 186 is my max heart rate. So 60 to 70% is about, I think I did 70% maybe. Can't remember what the calculation was. Anyway, 111. So I'm usually shooting for 111. I actually did one of these workouts yesterday, and I was kind of right in between 110 and 120 the whole time. It was when I first started, I thought, oh, okay, I'll be able to like jog a little bit, but my heart rate was just too high. So it's one of these things where, I have a little Fitbit that I was wearing that allows me to actually monitor my heart rate, which helps a lot. I don't know if you're going to really be able to do this type of cardio without some type of heart rate monitor. But just generally speaking, there's all these heart rate zones that if you do have a heart rate monitor, you can kind of know where you're at. 57% or lower, very light heart rate. That's heart rate 1. Heart rate 2, heart rate zone, I should say. Zone 1, less than 57% or very light. Zone 2, 57 to 63% or light. That's like, so if people are asking like, how much do you exercise? Oh, light exercise, moderate exercise, whatever, all those different things. These are the actual breakdowns. Heart rate zone 3, 64 to 76%, which is vigorous, which is essentially where we're at. Technically, this heart rate zone 3, which is like the fat burning zone kind of thing, where again, as you're going through this exercise intensity, as you're increasing this intensity, you're going to start to burn a lot more or use different systems of fuel in your body. As when you're at really high intensity, you got to use the most abundant fuel as that you possibly can in short, quick bursts. It's glucose. It's just like your body's sugar. But when that starts to actually break down, you actually start using actually some of the glycogen that kind of that is stored in your muscle as well, which isn't necessarily healthy. So that's why you're not always doing like super maximal cardio. It's just also hard to just maintain. But again, you if you want to kind of be in that fat burning zone where you're using up your fat stores, you want to be in this zone 3 kind of thing, because zone 4 is 77 to 95%, which is high. So people are usually not really getting out of zone 4. If they're getting into zone 5 while they're working out, they're probably actually working out a little bit too hard. So you might actually have to like kind of bring that a little bit down, because again, zone 4, 77 to 95%, which is pretty wider. It's a wider range. It is considered high intensity, and then zone 5, 96 to 100% is maximal output or intensity. So it's like the top limits of your body's capacity. So again, you want to use those your body kind of goes through the 3 macronutrients, as we know, fat, carbohydrates, and protein. It kind of goes through them in a specific order when it's looking for energy, when your body actually needs the energy to survive and thrive. Normally speaking, at low intensities, your body's using carbohydrates as energy. For a lot of people that are just eating a normal standard diet with all 3 of those macros, you're going to be probably burning a lot of carbohydrate, which is not necessarily great if you have a lot of fat stores already. And this is the issue that a lot of other diets and other approaches take, is that, all right, let's cut out those carbs so that your body will only have fat to burn. Now, that's good and bad, but the problem is your brain runs on carbohydrates, just like Ryan Gosling says. But it's true in the sense that the glucose that's found in those carbohydrates are a lot easier for your body to get at. So you want to have those in your system for your body to get at. So quick digesting isn't always necessarily good if you have all these fat stores, but it's going to be the fastest thing. So, there's slow digestion carbohydrates and things like that, and fiber and all that stuff kind of falls weirdly in there. Dietary fiber is actually super important. In fact, actually, if you are eating more fiber in your diet, every gram of fiber that you eat actually offsets every gram of sugar that you eat, because it actually helps. Now, you can look at it like every gram of sugar negates a gram of fiber. So look at it both ways. But again, fiber is super, super important for many different reasons. But again, the carbohydrates are important in the diet, except the problem is you can't eat too many of them, because essentially that unused energy that's stored in the system your body wants, because it's going, oh, this is, high quality energy here. Let's not just like fucking shit it out literally. But let's store it. And then again, it gets turned into fat, and your body stores it as such. And there's a few different reasons why we hold on to fat. A lot of it has to do with just excess, excess food and abundance, food being in abundance now. It's a lot easier to get at for human beings. So sometimes human beings, I think like myself, because I come from a lineage and I come from like my family's Polish Lithuanian, they all lived in the, even just 2 generations ago, the 20s, 30s, 40s in Eastern Europe wasn't very thriving. So they didn't have abundance of food. And then even, my parents growing up didn't have the type of food that we have available today. I think my body's kind of like, all right, if you actually get, these kind of nutrients and you actually get to eat them, store them, because you don't know what the fuck's going to happen next. And again, stress on top of that doesn't help. But that's kind of how your body ends up storing fat. So now when we're talking about exercise, of course, diet's super important. But if we are looking to burn fat, we do want to kind of go with this zone 3 approach, in the sense that even lower is where we're going to actually start getting into some of those fat stores and starting to burn those a little bit more over the carbohydrates, because we don't need, our body, when we get into this kind of rhythm, which is important, I'll get into about the training. When you get into a sustained rhythm and you're doing it for a prolonged time, your body kind of goes, all right, I guess we're fucking walking for a bit here, or whatever you're doing, whatever type of exercise you're doing. let's start going to an energy system or energy storage that is a little bit more not necessarily available quick, because we don't need it 100% right away, but we know we're going to need it as this exercise or whatever we're doing kind of kicks in. I mean, you can look at I don't even know what the approach would be, but the kind of like kinesthetic anthropological approach. I don't even know. That doesn't make any sense, but the kinesiological anthropological approach, stay with me here, looking back in history and kind of seeing how, all right, most of the time when we were doing things that were relatively vigorous, we were probably out hunting for food, right? Or we were out plowing the land or building stuff. And like, our bodies were in these stands. Even as nomadic people, we had to walk for all these distances. And that's one of the greatest things that the bipedal human has ever, evolved into is the way the human walks. It's one of the most efficient mechanical machines out there. I mean, no, we're a biological machine, but I mean mechanical in the sense of the physics of how our legs work and how we just are basically, when you're walking, you're almost like constantly falling, but the way you've timed your legs is that you're just like catching yourself, and it's just like, it is highly efficient motion. We're barely lifting our feet off the ground, like not dragging them, but like, efficient walk, you're only going about a centimeter off the ground. And again, it's just like a very, very efficient motion. So when you get into that swing of things, your body kind of goes, okay, let's move into this next. Now, don't get me wrong here. There might be some nutritionists or dietitians out there listening to what I'm saying, but I'm trying to put it in layman's terms here in the sense of when we're moving in through systems here. And like I said, if you go into the proteins and you're breaking down proteins, that's when we start talking about rhabdomyolysis and things like that, where you start pissing like Coca-Cola colored pee, which is not fucking good. And that's essentially, again, your muscles are breaking down, they're making it through your kidneys, and we don't want to go there. And that's, again, that would be like crazy high sustained intensity, high to maximal intensity, but high sustained for a very long time. You can break it down. A lot of like endurance athletes will get this rhabdomyolysis and things like that because their nutrition might be a little off, is probably the thing, because again, a lot of endurance athletes are low body fat, so they don't have a lot of fat to actually take from, so they should be eating it a lot, which is super important. Again, 3 macronutrients, let alone all the micronutrients and vitamins we need, but fat, carbohydrates, protein, we need those motherfuckers. In their relative amounts as well, by the way. Don't get me wrong. I mean, you can push the protein up pretty high, but, be careful about eating too many fats and carbs together. That's the thing. If you're going to eat more fat, you kind of have to dial down the carbs. It's almost like this EQ system for your body, but the more fat and carbs you eat, again, your body's going to use those carbs first. It's going to store the fat, and anyway, it becomes a little bit of a compounding effect. But again, like I said, if you are looking to burn fat, you want to go with this low intensity, steady state, which is the opposite of high intensity interval training. Obviously high intensity interval training, for anyone who wants to know, high intensity. So we're talking 77 to 95% of your heart rate for intervals, quick intervals, usually like 1 to 3 minutes long. And then there's usually like a 1 to 5 minute break in between those intervals, whatever it might be. It might just be doing kettlebell swings for a minute, or like, shit like that. Like, a lot of CrossFit is technically high intensity interval training. I mean, I guess it's exactly high intensity interval training, truly. But studies have shown that continuous exercise is more beneficial for fat distribution. Now, high intensity interval training might be more beneficial in the short term for all the other cardio benefits of continuous training. So again, with continuous or low intensity steady state, you will be gaining more VO2 max, volume of oxygen, the way your body actually moves oxygen around your bloodstream. Let's just put it that way. But your lung capacity, all these different things, all these other benefits of cardio will come, and you can actually get a lot of those benefits in a quicker fashion with high intensity interval training, especially for people who had a relatively sedentary lifestyle up until that point. You get a little bit more in a quicker fashion from high intensity interval training, but with fat loss and fat distribution, continuous exercise is more beneficial. So of course, list training aids in fat loss And in fact, when you are losing that fat, you're actually breathing it out. So it's kind of funny. There's a lot of, physiological pathways that are happening, but essentially the way your body does break down that fat, turns it into some testosterone, does this whole fucking hormonal thing too anyway. But it breaks all that shit down, and you don't poop it out, you don't pee it out, you don't sweat it out, you breathe out. It eventually turns it into CO2. When it takes out all that other shit, CO2 is at the end of the fucking ledger, and that's what you breathe out, which is hilarious. Low intensity steady state is appropriate for all levels, no matter what kind of athlete you are. You can kind of gain some benefits from it. And it's actually kind of funny, like being a relatively, when I used to train for football, it was fucking heavy duty, man, like super intense. Sometimes it wasn't necessarily high heart rate stuff, but just the weight training was heavy duty. Obviously working on the field, a lot of stuff was fucking crazy high intensity. We were for sure in the 77 and 95% range, for sure. But again, doing this exercise and watching your heart rate and being careful. Like I said, I started jogging and it just went, like it went up to like 126 right away. I'm like, fuck, I got to be like 111. So I just walked, and it wasn't even like a brisk walk. It was like kind of like a chill walk, which again, it's almost nice to kind of like force yourself. And like, you can still do that with good form and good posture and get into a rhythm still. But having a way to look at my heart rate and see that, I had to really be conscious of that, became this whole other type of workout where you're approaching it in such a different way. And then like kind of knowing my way around, I ran around Gage Park here in Hamilton, kind of knowing my way around the park and getting back in time, because I wanted to do it just a half hour of it. I didn't want to do any more because I was just starting. But I for sure could probably do an hour. I think I might try. Who knows? Maybe I'll just do 45 minutes just to see. But it's good to ramp up, and we'll get into that a little bit in a second. But again, it's cool. So whether you're just starting out working out or you've never done it before, low intensity steady state is for you. Easier recovery, of course, and it actually aids in recovery too from other workouts. And I kind of see it almost as like a gateway to more running, really, like more cardio exercise. Like if you start with this low intensity, it kind of gives you a chance to actually get yourself. I feel like a lot of times people are like, I'm going to get my cardio back in. I'm going to start running 5Ks. I'm going to start running, a mile, whatever. And I'm going to run. And it's like, all right, cool. Have you ever ran before? Maybe not too much or not for a long period of time. You're going to fucking burn yourself out, hurt yourself, just exhaust yourself maybe too quickly, too fast, and you're never going to see any of those benefits. But with the steady state, it's almost like you're starting such a low fucking bar that it's great, because you do feel a sense of accomplishment pretty quickly because you actually got to do the thing and you're not fucking burnt out. You're not going to die. It's fucking great. So you get into it, and it's, again, like I said, almost like this gateway, or it could be. Now, of course, the downsides of it does take longer. It's not a quick, high-intensity interval training workout that you can do in 20 minutes, bang, bang, boom. But you got to put in about 45 to 60 minutes at least. So it can be a little bit boring, but fucking put your headphones on. Again, it's not a heavy, you're not running. You can put like your fucking chill headphones. You're not even really sweating too much probably as you get more into it. I mean, I sweat fucking reading. So I was a little bit sweaty. But not even that bad, not even for me. So, but yeah, put your fucking headphones in, listen to podcasts, listen to a book on tape, get into it. It's almost like a walking meditation, man. It's pretty cool. And obviously, like any cardio, anything that's steady state, you can get overuse injuries. If you already have some, a little bum knee, or just like walking itself starts to wear on you. Your body's not really, your body's good at doing that, but your body also wants to be dynamic and wants to try different things. It needs rest, it needs recovery, but sometimes even that actual rest and recovery can be too much. Anyway, so if you are a beginner, you're kind of getting into it, aim for 3 times per week. Like I said, start half hour, build your way up. You do want to aim for 45 to an hour. You really do want to be in the hour range. Let's just put it that way. Aim for even longer. I mean, you can be in the zone for a long time. So sustain it for kind of fucking as long as you can, to be truthfully honest, because that's just going to help with all that burning the fats that we want to do here. If you are an intermediate athlete or, active person, 1 to 2 sessions of low intensity steady state plus 1 to 2 sessions of high intensity interval training, and bang, bang, boom, you got fucking 4 days of unbelievable workouts. That's a pretty overall good whole body kind of approach. And you can hit up your resistance training in there too, and doing all that fun stuff with the HIIT, and then get your recovery and fat burning kind of happening at once. So you're kind of hitting it from 2 angles. And as an aside here, or as a conclusion, I should say, you know, obviously healthy, balanced lifestyle, diet is the most important, truly. But all fitness levels should include strength training as well. That's resistance training, that's weights, that's bands, that's cables, 2 to 3 times per week. Get in the gym, do some squats, do the leg press, even if you can't get under the bar. Just go and get under the leg press and fucking make it happen. If you can't get to a gym, do some prison squats. Arms behind the head, squat position, feet shoulder width apart. Push through the whole foot, but sit back into the heels. Squat down, squat back up. Prison squat, boom. Do fucking 10 of those per night, even if you can't even get to the gym, you can't do anything. So weight training, strength training, strong legs, strong body, strong muscles, but strong legs in particular are directly linked to mortality. The stronger your legs, the longer you're going to live. So keep them strong, keep them stretched. I want to see some supple leopards out there. Anyway, thank y'all for listening. I'm going to go walk around the park. Check us out, YouTube's, Patreon. Love y'all. Peace.